My name is Nina Neseth, and I'm a staff scientist at Science North. Today for Science at Home, we're going to be talking about simple machines. Now, there are 6 different types of simple machines, but what they all have in common is that they help us to do work. The way that they make work easier is that they take force that we put into them, and they increase that force, or they change that force's direction. And by doing that, they make it easier for us to move an object. There are 6 different types of simple machines, and those types are the lever, the wedge, the inclined plane, the wheel and axle, the pulley, and the screw. We're going to talk about each of those in a little bit more detail. Now, the lever consists of an arm or beam and some sort of turning point, which we call a fulcrum. And the way that levers work is that we can put force, so we can do work on one end of the lever, and it will increase that force to move or lift an object on the other end of it. Some levers that you might have seen in real life are a teeter-totter or seesaw at a park, or maybe a pair of scissors. If you think about both of those objects, they have some sort of beam and some point where there's movement, where things can turn to help do work. Next up, we have the wedge. So the wedge works by changing the direction of the force that we're using to do work, and it can be driven under something or into something to either move something or split it apart. If you're having a hard time picturing that, some good examples of wedges that we use in everyday life, or that you might have seen, are door stops, which we wedge under the bottom of a door to keep it from moving, an axe, which people use to chop wood and to split wood apart into smaller pieces, or a forklift, which is a piece of equipment that has wedges on the front that can go under really, really heavy loads to help lift them up, because it would be too hard for us to lift them up just with our arms. The next type of simple machine is the inclined plane. The inclined plane you might recognize as a ramp. So it's a way for us to get objects from a lower surface to a higher surface, or from somewhere high down low, without having to use our arms to pick it up and just carry it up. You've used a ramp you have used an inclined plane if you have walked up a ramp or even upstairs, or if you've gone down a slide at a park. Slides are inclined planes too. Wheels and axles are a way to reduce the friction, so the way that materials rub together, to make it easier for an object to move. So if you think about a car has wheels, and those wheels make it easier for that car to move down a road. Now, if you picture a car that has no wheels, if it could move at all, it would be dragging and grinding into the road. It wouldn't work very good. Pulleys are kind of similar to wheels in that they also reduce friction. They're a way for us to easily lift and lower and move objects from side to side. Some pulleys that you might have seen in your everyday life are elevators, which use pulleys to move people from one part of a building up to a higher or lower level. If you have a clothesline at home, it uses a pulley to help move your clothes out over your lawn to dry. Or maybe if you've ever gone rock climbing and you're wearing a harness with a rope, there's a pulley there so that if you fall, the rope will be able to help slow or stop your fall to keep you safe. Last but not least, the screw is almost like an inclined plane that's wrapped around a post. If you've ever seen a screw being screwed into a wall or a piece of wood, the way that they work is that the little bit amount of work that we use to turn a screwdriver or to use a drill, gets increased by the screw so that there's more force going as that screw goes into the wall. So it makes it a lot easier to just use a little bit of work turning a screwdriver for a screw to go into something as solid as a piece of wood. Now that we've covered the 6 different types of simple machines, I have a challenge for you. If you have a timer, you can time yourself, but what I would like you to try to do is have a look around your house as a sort of simple machine scavenger hunt. Try to find at least one example of a simple machine in your house for each of the 6 types of simple machines. If you can, try to find more than one for each type of simple machine. See if you can do it in under 10 minutes. I'm going to have a look around my house too. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back. Were you able to find at least one type of simple machine for each type? I had a look around my house too, and here's what I was able to find. First, I have this piece of luggage, and if you notice, at the bottom it has wheels. And these wheels make it easier for me to move my luggage when I'm traveling, so I don't have to carry it everywhere in my arms. I can instead wheel it around on the ground. It's great when I packed a lot of stuff. All right, inside I have another example of a wheel. I have a rolling pin, which has a sort of wheel that I can spin here, and it makes it easier for me to roll out dough when I'm baking, so it makes work a lot easier. I have a toy here, which has a sort of wheel, but if you have a look, you can see that there's an angle here, and that actually works as an inclined plane. So it makes it really easy for my wheel to move up and down from one end to the other using that inclined plane. So it's kind of 2 in 1. Let's see. I have a few examples of levers. So I have these tongs here, and you can see that we have our beams or arms of our lever. And at the end here is our fulcrum, that turning point. And that helps me open and close the tongs so that I can pick up stuff. I also have a pair of scissors, which again is an example of a lever. So we have our arms of our lever, and we have a fulcrum or turning point right here in the middle that lets me open and close my scissors. Now I don't have any axes at home, and it was actually really hard for me to find examples of wedges in my house, but I did find a knife. Now a knife is an example of a wedge because it has this edge here on its blade that allows me to use force to separate my food into smaller pieces. And it makes it a lot easier than if I were just using my bare hands. And while we're at it, a fork has examples of wedges on it too. So at the very ends of my tines are tiny little wedges that make it easier for me to break my food into smaller pieces. So I did have some examples of wedges in my house after all. For screws, I found, well, actual screws. And I also found this jar. Now to open this jar, I actually have to unscrew the lid. And if you have a look at it more closely, you can actually see that it has these threads here, just like a screw would, and the lid has them too. So this is a screw. I think the only one I'm missing now are pulleys. Now I do have just a regular pulley, and if I were to use it like a pulley, you can see it has a wheel on the inside, and I could take a string and put it through my pulley like this, to make it easier to lift a heavy object and to lower it down again. One other pulley that I did find is the reel here on a fishing rod. So this pulley helps me when I'm casting out and reeling in my fishing line when I go fishing. I hope you were able to find some really cool examples of simple machines in your house. There are a lot more than what I was able to find. If you have some really cool examples that you found that you want to share with us at Science North, you can let us know online using the hashtag #ScienceAtHome. Thank you so much for joining me today and for participating in this simple machine scavenger hunt. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.